And the final preparations are underway for New York City's New Year countdown. That glittery ball is not the only object in the U.S. that'll fall from the sky at midnight. Jericka Duncan is in Times Square to show us what other cities are dropping. Jericka, good morning.
Good morning. The idea of dropping a ball to mark in the new year is something that has roots in maritime tradition. And more than a century since the first ball drop here in Times Square, the custom has taken on a life of its own. In a growing number of cities across the country, it wouldn't be a New Year celebration without falling food. Atlanta drops a peach, Miami a neon orange, and a moon pie flies over Mobile, Alabama to mark the start of the new year. In Lebanon, Pennsylvania, it's bologna. In Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, a pickle. Not to be upstaged, a drag queen named Sushi descends over the streets of Key West, Florida. The tradition of bringing in the new year by dropping an object was born on top of the New York Times building in 1907. The city had banned fireworks, so the newspaper's publisher at the time, Adolph Ochs, went looking for a new way to mark the coming of the new year. He adapted a maritime ritual.
This was a tradition, a mariner's tradition, from harbors where a ball would drop at a certain time of day to let all the ships at sea and in the harbor know what time it was.
Ochs arranged to have a 700-pound illuminated ball lowered from the Times building flagpole precisely at midnight.
It was a perfect and much less flammable way to bring in the new year.
Although today's celebrations often include pyrotechnics, the drop has endured. In Music City, Nashville, Tennessee, it's a 15-foot red note, while New Orleans appropriately lowers a fleur-de-lis. Each drop marks the passing of times gone by, but it's the crowds that make the party.
The ball is just, in essence, the stir in the cocktail that is really the energy of the crowd.
And people have already started to gather here at Times Square. Of course, they're here despite those below freezing temperatures that are expected to continue through midnight. Nora?
All right. A good reason when it's cold outside to snuggle up to somebody on New Year's Eve.